To invite you on a journey, to take you to a place where existence pre-existed existence. I'm inviting you on a journey to a place before existence existed, where the one who created existence existed before existence existed. You see, from your vantage point, redemption happened after man sinned. But if you put on your eternal glasses, the Lamb was slain long before man could ever need redemption. I mean, he had insight to see 4 times more than man could ever infinitely have insight for. He slew the Lamb before man could need a redemption. Because you see, in the garden, man fell down south for eating from the tree he was told not to eat from. Man, in that instant, tried to solve his own problem by going green. But he told us green is not the way. He wrapped man in the fur of a lamb and showed us from the beginning that a slain lamb is how he will solve all of man's problems. You see, man did not know all he was meant to be. But Christ came to reveal all that man was to him. And so he opened up his heart through the finished works of Christ to show us this plan he had from inception. And in this plan, he had eternal redemption. He redeemed man. He bought back man even when man didn't know he was a commodity that was in slavery. He redeemed man and he saved man. I mean, man was almost innocent until he learned what good and evil was. I mean, he ate from the tree, so good and evil meant the same thing. He didn't know what life was. He redeemed man and bought man back. He showed us in this plan eternal salvation, soteria, the salvation from everything good and evil that man had come to know on the earth. He showed us Christ. Man, for ages, tried to reach God. He didn't understand that God didn't want man to reach God. God wanted to reach out from man to man. So at Sinai, man tried to get a cosign from God, but he didn't understand. So he was standing a tangent too far. I said at Sinai, man tried to get a cosign from God, but he was standing a tangent too far from where his points could meet with God. See, he showed us the perfect triangle: God, the Father, Son, and Spirit. Pythagoras has nothing on this Trinity. Man was redeemed. I know you've heard the salvation story, but let me tell you again. And so it's showtime. I mean, he stepped into hell and he looked at Satan because Satan thought he had won the battle and thought he had killed him, and he told him, rebuttal game crazy. You like to play God, so I'm going to play you at your own game. You can call this imaginary God bars. You asked me to turn stones to bread. I'm asking you if you can turn the stones of the Lord to the bread of life. You asked me if I could out of darkness bring forth light. You asked me to turn into light. I'm asking you if you can out of darkness call forth light. You see, when he said light be, he didn't call light into darkness. He brought light out of darkness. I said when he said light be, he didn't call light into darkness. He used darkness as the raw material to create light. So how do you think your situation, no matter how dark it is, he cannot from that bring forth light? When he was in hell, he was a hell of a problem. When he stepped into hell, he beat hell in hell, then he whooped hell in hell, he beat the hell out of hell, and he loved the hell out of us. Should I put that in subtitles? I mean, he beat hell, so the hell cried out, what the hell? And he came out to give us an eternal inheritance. I mean, he was beaten on the cross to a pulp, but his bone remained straight. I mean, he was beaten to a pulp, but he still maintained his bone straight. So you see, we are not just benefactors of his will. We are heirs. More than heirs, we are joint heirs. I mean, he numbers the hairs on our heads, but we are joint heirs with him. We are his human extensions. He gave us a place to sit with him in the heavenlies. You see, the throne, no be jangle over. We know they get mood swings. I said the throne, no be jangle over. We know they get mood swings. So what is written on my shirt, we draw out of the wells of salvation. I say we draw from our inheritance. Joy is our checkbook. Joy is your blank checkbook that you use to draw out from the wells of redemption. He has given us life. And man knows, or man thinks he knows what love is. So he goes down on one knee to propose, but he proposed on the cross. I mean, then pierce him for inside. Now fountain flow there. Then borehole for in hand. So if he tell me, say it is well, I say he was pierced by his side. A fountain flow there. Then borehole for in hand. So if he tell me, say it is well. So when you tell me, say rain, they come. Make I take cover. I ain't scared of the rain. My umbrella and a liquid. I'm covered by the blood. And so in him, you have perfect peace and eternal salvation. In him, you have everything you could ever think for in life. See, in him, you have an end of suffering and pain because you and I were his dying thoughts. I mean, the crown of thorn, the crown of suffering that was on his head. No, I mean in his head. Was touching his medulla when he was dying. And you and I were the last things he thought about as he died. We are his inheritance on the earth. In him, you have eternal life. Thank you.
Glory.